Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today we're going to make some R&B. You guys have been voting in the community tab and you guys said you want to learn R&B. So we're going to use my keyboard. I'm using a Korg Kronos 2 for the sound source, but I will show you guys how to do this inside the DAW as well. So we have F in the bass. I'm playing F and then down an octave. And then we're going to play A, C, E with the right hand, or excuse me, A, C, E, G with the right hand. So we're playing F minor ninth, but it's spread apart. So you have a super low octave and then this, and play them rhythmically. Okay, so that's what we're going to be playing. And then we're going to go from this chord and then we're going to move up to A minor. So it's A, C, E, G, B. Okay, so we're just moving one finger for that chord, but it sounds cool. All right, now for the drums, we're using the Beat Butcher drums, and this one, basically you're gonna chop it with the slice tool. I keep mine at like either a beat or a half beat, hit shift to do a vertical slice. And what we're gonna do is slice both ends of it like this, grab the slip tool, and then we're gonna change out parts of the audio that we wanna change up. So listen to the drums, how they change up over time. And that's all because I moved that slip tool. And you could do this infinitely. So let's just keep changing it up so it's not predictable. That way the drums feel like a real performer did it, even though we're using one drum break. So that's how you get the most out of drum breaks, and it keeps that authentic moving forward type of feeling. Now let's try to record in some of these notes. We're at 140 BPM. Technically we're at 70 because we're playing at halftime here. So it may take me a couple takes, but let's record this and then I'll show you guys the chords inside of a piano roll. See, my brain was thinking too much. Now I got to start over to get the next chord. All right, so my brain's thinking too much, so let's just do it a couple times just so we don't, because there's a latency when I record. But anyhow, the trick though is to have the root note and the bass octave. We're playing 2 octaves of the same note. And then we're playing like at least 1 octave higher the rest of the chord, which is the minor ninth chord. So it's F minor ninth, F major ninth, excuse me. Major ninth chord, but it's spread apart octaves, so it's not like this. That's would sound too muddy. So we're gonna pull it up an octave. All right, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm using what's called a sustain pedal on my keyboard. So my brain, the beat's a little too fast for me, changing chords, especially with that voicing. So I gotta do it in parts. See how I'm thinking too much? All right, so the reason I'm using the sustain pedal is because you can move while you're still listening to the chord. And there's a technique to it, but I'm not gonna bore you guys to tears. All right, so right there is where I messed up. So let's combine these takes. Again, we're just gonna embrace the flaws here so that we have variety. We don't want everything to sound like it's just the same thing repeating, unless we want that for a specific reason. So I'm writing on grand piano because this is usually the easiest sound to get used to write melodies. And that's why I start with grand piano, because it tends to translate to almost any instrument. but at least we could create all the layers, the contrast layer, the top line, the harmony section, and the rhythm section, all with that grand piano. Okay, so now we have the kind of core of what the song is going to be. So let me show you guys how to form that chord. If you guys are using anything. Now, stock plugins are not going to sound like a $2,000 keyboard called the Chord Kronos. It's not going to. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. You cannot make the stock sound like the real thing. So just stop wasting your brain cycles on trying to make a stock sound like that. Okay, so, but I will give you guys the voicing. Let's right click, go to piano roll. What I'm doing is I'm playing F. So I'm playing this F2 octave here. And here's what it would look like. And then I'm playing, instead of playing A, C, E like this, instead of playing it here, I'm pulling this up an octave. And I'm just giving it rhythm. Dun, dun, so it goes. And then I'm just going to kind of mirror kind of what I was doing with the slice tool. And with the timing, we're kind of doing tresillo, so it's tresillo, tresillo, tre. And then it repeats. So notice it doesn't have that like realistic sound. Let me show you guys a couple tools. If you go to tools, there's a humanized script in the piano roll. If you can't find this for whatever reason, go to the Image Line forums and look for the humanized tool. I'm pretty sure it's built into FL. Just randomize the settings here, hit accept. And then we're going to use another script that we have to download from the Image Line forums called remove overlaps. Because what happens is with that humanized script, it will tend to overlap notes. And when you have overlap notes in FL Studio, you get note cutoff problems. So that removes the problems basically. So this will sound a little more humanized and realistic. Still loud though. So let's hit Alt X and pull down this multiplier. And then what I did actually playing it was I did a note change. Okay, so that, okay, I'm taking this E down to a D, okay. So it sounds pretty good. You guys could probably get away with this type of sound, but it just isn't the full detailed sound. And then I'm moving up to A minor ninth. So we're going to copy this structure, pull it up to A. But here we need to revise this chord so that it's not a major chord. We're going to pull this down a semitone. Now that note doesn't work here, the F. So I was using, it was A. It was still the note D here. This sounds pretty good. Okay, so that sounds better than I thought it would sound actually. But it does not sound like the real deal. So I don't want to lie to y'all and tell you you can do this, but this just has a lot more definition. Okay, this is close though, kind of close. Let's show you how to get a little more out of it. Let's add the Fruity Convolver. You guys can look for, it's called Bricasti M7 samples online. You know, you guys will get the project files for free, so don't try to like memorize every little step. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio. So look for the Liquid Sonics Bricasti M7 Fusion IR sources and look for Simplicity Bricasti IR's version 2023-10. In short, they sample real spaces. So I'm under Hall 25 St. Sylvian. We're going to drag this inside of Fruity Convolver. If I hit play, we're going to hear the sample that we're loading up into Fruity Convolver. So the way a convolution reverb works is you're basically multiplying your source sound by the sample of the convolver. And so it's going to make our sound feel like it's in that specific space. So what we're going to do is just mess with the wet level here. And now the piano feels a lot bigger. Let's pull back the wet level a little bit. This will make it feel a little more realistic, but to show you guys the difference, let's have these kind of back to back. All right, and now what we can do now is go back into the track and add top line. So there's 4 layers to any beat or song, really. You have the top line, which is like the singable melody. You have the harmony section, which fills out the gaps, which we did with those chords, basically. This is the meat of the song, the body of the song. Okay, and then you have the contrast layer, which is usually the low frequencies to fill out that low octave. And we have the rhythm section, which is our drums. So let's hear this, the real piano versus the computer one. To be fair, I'm going to run them through. Actually, this is, never mind. Let's turn the volume up. So I'm hearing in my head. See how this is almost too perfect sounding? Very wide. Let's see if we can narrow this down a little bit. So hopefully you guys have now. Do I have that plugin that turns my voice? I don't. Let me record this just for my own sake, but I'm hearing this like. Let's hit record. Much like cleaner though, and higher octave. Mine was like super low, and plus we have a low buffer length. I have to turn this up for the video's sake. Very hard recording video for you guys. All right, so that's just a reference so I don't forget, but that would be the top line, and that would be pitched up at least 2 octaves for the melody. So now we need a bass line. So I'm going to go back to my keyboard. There is a noticeable latency now that I have my buffer length up. So it's a little bit difficult to play with that latency, but let's load up a bass sound. With the bass sounds, if you guys struggle with bass notes, try the perfect fifth. Okay, and try octaves and half steps. So I'm going to load up a bass patch on my keyboard. So the reason I move through that bass line so easily is because I'm just using octaves and perfect fifths to create tones that work together. And I'm just jumping up and down, kind of creating a variation. So that would be our contrast layer. Let's combine this, and you guys will get all the project files for free, so don't try to memorize like every tiny milliscopic step. All right, this would be our harmony section. This is where we have the chords. Technically, this is multiple sections in one because we have the contrast and the chords in here. And then we have our top line, which was my vocal, which is not in the same octave, but I can hear that 2 octaves up. So I can hear that, you know, if a woman singing that. So here we have the keyboard piano, and then we have FL stock plugins. All right, now if you guys are crazy, one last thing you can do, and I recommend, like, how do I recommend this? I recommend you save it as a new version first before you start doing all this, because here's a pivotal point. So let's save it as a new version just in case. And what I would recommend is that we transpose the notes. So here under pattern 1, if you go to the left side of the playlist, you can right click on a pattern. Let's go to transpose. Let's do -3. My favorite thing to do is -3 or +3. Positive values raise the key, negative values lower the key. So we're lowering this down 3 notes, 3 semitones. This will be a really dark octave because we're already in a low octave. But here's what it sounds like. Now the cool thing about MIDI is that you can do it pretty fast. So I'm trying to think of a way where, let me duplicate all this stuff so that it doesn't mess anything up. Let's transpose it back up 3. And what we'll do for the video's sake so that you guys can work on this is we'll copy all this over, and then we're going to make this unique. If you guys didn't know, you can combine audio. If you highlight all the audio, hit Control G. All right, now it's a new audio, so let's double click. Let's switch the mode to stretch mode. There's another technique you guys could use. Let me just quickly show you. Switch it to stretch mode, switch it back to resample. And we're gonna make this unique so that it's a completely new bass. Let's call this bass 2, just so it's not confused with the other one, bass 1. So bass 1 is different than bass 2, even though it's the same exact thing, different files. Let's call this chords 2. All right, now all these are just the first take. So here we can transpose this by going to, or we can go to mode, stretch mode, then back to resample. So what we can do now is slow down the BPM, and it will change the actual tone of the chords and the drums. Now, before you guys do this, I know I'm kind of going kind of fast. Let's go to Tools, Macro, switch all audio clips to stretch mode. This will basically give it a time value. You don't need to memorize this, but then we're going to go back to Tools. Where's it at? Tools, Macros, switch all audio clips back to resample mode. So now when we change the BPM, we will actually hear a change in tone, but it won't mess with the length of the sample. So now we can slow it down. So you can create really like emotional R&B that way. This is already kind of low, so you know, I would start in higher BPMs and then slow it down. You could also do it the other way around. For like more of a soul vibe. Okay, let's keep it at 140 for now. One last thing I'm going to do here is just go inside the sample, double click. We're going to manually pitch this down 300 cents. You can read in the top left value. It will take some time to pitch everything down. So now that's pitched down. We're going to do the same thing with the chords. And we're going to make this unique. The MIDI. I'm doing all the hard work for you guys, so you don't have to do all this. And then go over to the pattern on the left side, right click, transpose this down -3. So now all the audio past this point, except for the drums, is pitched down 3. Let's hear both back to back, see which one has a better vibe. It's a little dark going down 3 because it's already low. Let's try one more thing, which is to pitch it up just a half step. So this is more of a Tyler the Creator type of approach, and I'm not going to sit here spend the rest of the day teaching you guys everything about everything. If you guys do want to learn the fundamentals of music production, look for my Beat Magic course at busyworksbeats.com/beatmagic. But if you want to learn the music theory, which is really what you need to learn, go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory essentials, because that course is the fundamentals or the foundation of everything I teach. So let's double click in here. So now the sample is pitched up 100 cents. Also, we need to transpose the pattern. This is my favorite key. Let's listen to it for one more round. So FL Studio is effing up my waveform right here. They need to fix that. All right, you guys will get the project files for free. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio. Again, if you want to learn what I did on this keyboard, you have to learn the music theory. All right, so just go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory essentials. I simplify music theory so simple to literally, if you learn how to count, you know how to make music. I'll show you guys on the other side though. So go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory essentials. I'll leave a link below so you don't forget. Peace out, guys. Subscribe if you're new. Peace.